My name is Emma Brooks, and I was 26 years old. Have you ever realized someone wanted to humiliate you without saying a single cruel word? That's exactly what happened to me. They thought I'd quietly accept it, smile through the embarrassment, and pretend nothing was wrong. But they never expected my little brother to see what they had done. What happened next changed everything. When I drove 3 hours to my younger brother's wedding rehearsal dinner, wearing the nicest dress I owned. It wasn't a designer dress. It wasn't expensive. In fact, I found it in a consignment store for $12. But I'd worked 2 jobs for months just to save enough money to look presentable. Rent was always due. Bills never stopped. Buying something nice for myself almost never happened. Before I tell you what happened that night, you need to understand my relationship with my brother, Noah. He's 2 years younger than me, but somehow he's always been the one taking care of me. When our father walked out, I was 15 and Noah was only 13. I completely fell apart. I stopped eating. I couldn't sleep. My grades crashed. Every night, Noah would sit on my bedroom floor with a granola bar or some cheap snack, telling terrible jokes just to make me smile for a few minutes. Even as a skinny teenage boy, he carried more responsibility than most adults. So when he met Olivia Carter, I was honestly happy for him. She came from a world completely different from ours. Private schools, luxury vacations, country clubs, a family with more money than I could imagine. At first, Olivia treated me politely. She asked about my waitressing job, smiled at family dinners. Everything seemed perfectly normal. But after Noah proposed, something changed. She never insulted me directly. People like Olivia didn't work that way. Instead, it was little things. She'd call me sweetie in that fake, sugary voice. She'd casually ask, "Oh, you never went to college, did you?" As if she'd forgotten. She never forgot. Her mother, Diane, was even worse. At one dinner she asked, "So, do you still live in that neighborhood?" The way she emphasized the word, that told me everything. Her father, Charles, barely acknowledged I existed. Noah occasionally noticed I seemed uncomfortable. "Everything okay between you and Olivia?" he'd ask. I always smiled and blamed work. After everything Noah had done for me growing up, I refused to become the reason his relationship fell apart. Then something happened that made everything worse. Last winter, my car broke down. Noah quietly paid for the repairs before I could stop him. I appreciated it more than he knew. But Olivia found out. She smiled and said, "That's so sweet of you, Noah. Helping family." The words sounded kind. Her eyes didn't. Within weeks, I started hearing whispers. Olivia's cousins joking about Noah's sister, who couldn't pay her own bills. Comments at family gatherings about people who depended on relatives instead of standing on their own. Somehow, one small favor turned into a story that I was living off my brother. None of it was true. By the time wedding weekend arrived, I was exhausted. I packed my only nice dress and drove to the country club where the rehearsal dinner was being held. My old car looked ancient, surrounded by luxury SUVs and sports cars. The ballroom looked like something out of a magazine. Crystal chandeliers, fresh flowers, elegant decorations. Guests dressed in clothes worth more than several months of my paycheck. Noah greeted me with a huge hug. "You look beautiful, Em," he whispered. Those few words meant everything. Then Olivia walked over with her perfect smile. "I'm so glad you made it," she said before adding, "We have assigned seating tonight." She walked away before I could respond. Dinner was announced. Everyone searched for their place cards. I looked for mine. At first, I couldn't find it. Then I noticed a tiny round table tucked near the kitchen doors. No flowers, no decorations, no family, just a wrinkled tablecloth and a water pitcher. My name was sitting there. The card read, "Overflow seating, Carter side." I stared at it, unable to move. Behind me, someone quietly whispered, "Oh." I turned and saw one of Olivia's cousins looking directly at my place card before exchanging a knowing smile with his girlfriend. Diane appeared seconds later. She glanced at the card, then looked at me with fake concern. "Oh my goodness," she announced loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. "That must be some terrible mistake. Someone should find the coordinator." But she didn't sound surprised. She sounded rehearsed. Across the room, Olivia laughed with her bridesmaids as if nothing had happened. Noah was talking with Charles at the bar. He hadn't noticed. My face burned with humiliation. Not because anyone had yelled at me, because no one had. This was the kind of humiliation designed to make you question yourself. If I reacted, I'd look dramatic. If I stayed, I'd silently accept being treated like I didn't belong. I stood there frozen, holding that little place card. Then I reached into my purse for my car keys. If this was how they wanted to treat me, I'd rather leave. Just as I turned, I heard the one voice I never expected. Emma? It was Noah. He walked toward me smiling. Then he looked down at the card. His smile disappeared. He looked at the lonely table near the kitchen. Then back at me. For the first time that night, he understood. Without saying another word, he picked up the place card, stared at it for several long seconds, and slowly looked around the room. Then, loud enough for the nearby guests to hear, he asked one simple question. Why is my sister the only person here who isn't sitting with a family? The entire ballroom seemed to freeze. Conversations faded. Glasses stopped clinking. Every eye slowly turned toward Noah. He stood there holding my place card, staring at it as if he couldn't believe what he was reading. Then he looked at me. Did someone say something to you? He asked quietly. I shook my head. What was I supposed to say? That his fiancée and her family had been making me feel unwanted for months? That tonight was simply the final insult? Noah didn't wait for an answer. He walked straight to the head table, picked up Olivia's place card, then her parents' cards, and placed them beside mine. His voice stayed calm. Too calm. Can someone explain why my sister is the only member of my family sitting at an overflow table next to the kitchen? Diane stepped forward first. Oh, Noah, she said with a nervous laugh. It's just a seating mistake. These things happen at large events. Noah didn't even look at her. Who made the seating chart? No one answered. Finally, Diane spoke again. Olivia organized it. Across the room, Olivia slowly walked toward us. The smile she'd been wearing all evening had completely disappeared. What happened? She asked, pretending not to know. Noah held up my place card. Why is Emma sitting at the overflow table? Olivia blinked. What? That can't be right. I seated her with your aunt. Then why does this card say overflow seating? Carter sighed. For a split second, I saw it. A tiny flicker on her face. Not surprise. Not confusion. She'd been caught. Almost instantly she recovered. That's not my handwriting, she said. Then whose is it? Noah asked. Olivia glanced toward her mother. Diane gave the smallest shake of her head. I knew exactly what it meant. Don't admit anything. I don't know, Olivia replied. Maybe one of the staff mixed up the cards. Noah stared at her for several long seconds. The silence in the ballroom became unbearable. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He placed it on speaker. Hello, he said. I'd like to cancel tomorrow's wedding reception. The room exploded with whispers. Olivia's face turned white. Noah, what are you doing? I'm canceling the venue. But we'll lose the deposit. I know. He ended the call. Then he turned to Olivia's father. Charles, your daughter just lied to my face. Charles raised both hands. Let's calm down. We don't need to do this in front of everyone. Noah laughed bitterly. No, this has been happening in front of everyone for months. He looked around the room. You all want to know what's really been going on? Nobody spoke. My sister has spent months pretending everything was fine because she didn't want to ruin my relationship. He pointed toward me. She's the one who practically raised me after our father walked out. His voice cracked. When I couldn't sleep as a kid, she stayed awake with me. When I was sick, she took care of me. When Mom worked double shifts, she made sure I ate dinner. He looked back at Olivia. And you've spent months treating her like she's beneath you. Olivia started crying. Don't. Noah cut her off. You also started the rumor that Emma lives off me. Everyone looked toward me. Then Noah said something I never expected. The truth is exactly the opposite. The room fell silent again. Last winter, my business account was temporarily frozen. I didn't tell anyone. I was embarrassed. Emma loaned me $800. My eyes filled with tears. He continued. She couldn't afford it. She was working 2 jobs. But she still handed me every dollar she'd saved because that's who she is. I paid her back the month later. He turned back to Olivia. Somehow that became the story that my sister couldn't support herself. He slowly pulled out his phone again. I also found something else. Olivia's eyes widened. My phone. You left it unlocked on the kitchen counter. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for the caterer's number. He looked directly at her. Instead, I found messages. He opened one conversation. It says, he read aloud. Emma is such an embarrassment. Hopefully the overflow table sends the message she needs. Nobody moved. Nobody even breathed. Diane covered her mouth. Charles looked down at the floor. Olivia burst into tears. I'm sorry, she cried. I was insecure. I thought your sister was too important to you. I couldn't stay silent anymore. Insecure? I asked. She looked at me. You were jealous of your fiancée's sister? I stepped forward. I changed Noah's diapers. I drove him to school. I sat beside his hospital bed when he broke his arm. I've loved him my entire life. I was never your competition. You turned me into a charity case because you couldn't handle the fact that he loved us both. Olivia couldn't answer. Noah walked over and gently took my hand. Come on, Em. Without another word, we walked out together. The next morning, our phones wouldn't stop ringing. Someone had recorded part of the confrontation. Not all of it. Just enough to show Noah canceling the wedding and exposing the truth. The video spread through their social circle almost overnight. People started asking questions. Old messages surfaced. Several bridesmaids shared screenshots of Olivia mocking me in private group chats. Charles quietly lost an important business partnership. Diane stepped down from a charity board after the negative attention became impossible to ignore. Olivia disappeared from social media. Months passed. One night, Noah and I sat in a little diner eating cold fries at 2 a.m. Neither of us talked about the wedding. Neither of us apologized. We didn't need to. After everything we'd survived growing up, we already understood each other, without words. 6 months later, Noah met someone new. Her name was Sophie. She arrived at our first family dinner carrying a homemade casserole and a warm smile. She never asked how much money I made. She never cared where I lived. She simply treated me like family, and that was all I'd ever wanted. As for me, I still have that navy blue dress hanging in my closet. Not because it reminds me of the worst night of my life, but because it reminds me of something much more important. People may try to make you feel small. They may judge your job, your income, or where you come from. But your worth has never been measured by any of those things. Real family stands beside you when everyone else tries to push you aside. And that night, my little brother reminded me exactly what unconditional love looks like. If you were in my place, would you have stayed at that dinner or walked away the moment you saw the overflow table? Let me know your answer in the comments. And if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to subscribe for more unforgettable family stories.